Busch Stadium, as great as it was a cookie cutter concrete replica.
That's funny. Holy
funny.
shit!
It's
I
right
didn't even
there
think
by-
about it.
It's right there by the
There's
photo
a
on the
picture.
wall.
I have a picture on the wall. Christmas last year, Colleen gave me this black and white photo of.
It's an incredible
Busch Stadium
photo.
too.
If you ever want me to steal that from you, I as well.
Keep going.
It's a cookie cutter concept, not too dissimilar from Shea Stadium, from the stadium the Phillies had, the Pirates had. These stadiums are not meant to last forever. They're
The bottle cap version of what I'm holding in my fucking hand.
Exactly. And that was probably for the fact that it was a bottle cap style and it was called Busch Stadium. The most architecturally innovative thing they did with it. Besides that, logistically, it was very cumbersome to get around. It was lots of ramps, lots of... I mean, not to just...
Look at...
Right.
Look at those
You can
ramps
see it.
along the outside.
It was difficult to get through. Now, when you were the opposition, it was terrifying because you had 360 degrees of opposing fans.
You're right.
There was very many benefits to it, but there was also as many benefits as there was to it. There were cons. It boxed in heat. The 1966 World Series when they All-Star Game when they hosted, there was 112 degrees at the field at the time. It was AstroTurf.
Yeah.
There was the AstroTurf issue with Vince Coleman, who broke his leg and cost us probably the 1987 NLCS. I mean, there was a lot of issues with the stadium too. So aesthetically, it was pleasing. Logistically, it was good. But there was, again, as many cons as pros. What I'm excited about Busch 3 is that has the perfect blend of sportsman's meets new modern era. And what I hope, and we'll see in the next 40 to 50 years, that they don't just go, well, it's old now, we'll knock it down and build something else because we can. Hopefully, they found that right fit in the modern era where it can last longer than a generation or two.
I couldn't agree more with you in that this was such a iconic ball stadium. I literally, this ramp over here on the right where you cross the bridge and then you come down, I was standing at the bottom of that when McGwire hit 62. I was there, and I got interviewed by a Japanese like radio or TV show. Mm-hmm. And obviously I never saw it, but they asked me about McGwire hitting 62 and where was I sitting. I was literally on the opposite side of the field against the right field foul pole, and he hit it towards left field, obviously.
We were both there. That's awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So there's so many awesome things that happen in that stadium, and you're totally right. I don't know if you're a big fan of the Wave. I feel like you're not.
I'll get into it.
But that stadium, you're right, with the 360.
It was perfect.
People everywhere, all around. I mean, you can't beat that with the Wave.
Mm-hmm.
So, little things like that. And that, by all means, our stadium has to be in the top 5 classiest stadiums right now, currently.
Well, the biggest benefit was that of this stadium, I think, is the skyline. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Absolutely.
St. Louis
Arch in the background and all that kind of BS.
They've really done with the new ownership a nice job of saying, look, we're going to... I think that was part of it, too. They inherited this old stadium from an era of architecture in our country that was not that impressive. Concrete, slabs. You've seen it. Look at DeSmet. God bless DeSmet Jesuit High School. It is an ugly building. Nobody will disagree with that.
It is.
It's a lot of concrete and...
It needs a facelift.
That was built in 1964 to 67. That stadium was erected in 1966.
Holy shit.
They're all the same age. It was around an era where they didn't have a keen eye for making things look pretty. Busch Stadium 3 makes it look pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a much, much, much better venue for both the players and the fans.
And what's cool, building off what you just said, I can see bringing our kids there. Us bringing our kids there, we're not going to say, oh man, this place, used to be great back in the day, blah, blah, blah. Our kids are going to tell their kids, oh, man, this place, by that time, it might have deteriorated a little bit and might be a little outdated. But by the time we have kids, that thing is going to be fully broken in like an old ball mitt. It's going to be in perfect prime condition.
It's only 10 years old.
I mean, there's still newer things about it. I mean, I guarantee there are places at that stadium right now that still have yet to be touched. Probably. You think that's too far fetched?
To some degree, I think that might be true. It really comes down to when a generation or two from now happens, when we get to that 40, 50-year mark of that stadium, if technology is still the same, which for all intent and purposes, honestly, it probably will, this just needs to be knocked down and rebuilt. A lot can happen in 40, 50 years. So we'll see. When we're doing this podcast in our rocking chairs, to my point earlier, we'll probably be talking about Busch Stadium 4.
You're right.
We'll see, though. I mean, my first game at Busch Stadium 3 was the exhibition game between the Cardinals and the Memphis Redbirds with my grandfather. And I can only imagine, and I should ask him, because God love him, he's still alive and kicking, what his thoughts were. Because this is a guy, when he was a kid, was at Sportsman's Park. And that might be us someday, Jim. Talking about Busch Stadium 2 when we're at Busch Stadium 4.
Totally agree. Absolutely. And you know what? God bless your grandfather.
Thank you. God bless him.
And the fact that he was able to pass down those memories. We were alive for the barn. Do you remember the barn? The old arena?
Very vaguely. I remember
Same.
One game against the Sharks.
I just had this conversation with my parents.
I loved it.
And because we were at the Blues game.
Yeah.
I told my parents, the only thing I remember about the old barn is going to ambush games. Mm-hmm. Or, it was ambush still. It wasn't the Steamers. Steamers were before them. Mm-hmm. And my parents said, we never really took you guys to Blues games because to go to a Blues game at the barn, the way that it was designed, you were either paying premium price for lower bowl or you were paying dirt shit up top. Mm-hmm. And up top was not really fun to be sitting in at the time. Like, if you sit up top at a Blues game right now at Scottrade, it kind of sucks that you're up high, but it's still not a horrible ticket.
Oh, no,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back at the barn, apparently, it was, you might as well not even pay the $20 for a seat.
Everybody I've talked to about it, they say the same thing. It's like, the barn was like, we knew it was historical, but it wasn't that good. Right.
So, my parents were just telling us, halfway through the game, I looked down. It's me, my brother, my mom, my dad, my brother's girlfriend, Maggie, having a great time. Colleen was out of town. Wish she could have been there. But I looked down and I was like, when's the last time as a family we had been to a game? Have we ever been to a Blues game together? I couldn't even think about it.
Right.
And my mom was kind of like, you know what? Back in the day, the Blues were great, and it was a hot ticket. Like, we couldn't afford it. So I was fortunate. I felt fortunate to be at the game, and we were talking about ticket prices for Winter Classic earlier. And honestly, no matter how much the price for the tickets were for the 5 of us to go to the game, it was priceless to me, because when's the last time my whole family was at a game together, enjoying, having a great time, drinking beers, and watching a Blues win? My mom had a jersey on, my dad had a jersey shirt on. It's like, I don't know. You are very fortunate to have a large family, but at the same time, do all of you get to go to the game together often? I feel like it's always a selective crew.
Rarely, if ever, and I should just say, never go to the Blues game together. They don't go to a lot of Blues games. Baseball game, we get 4 seats, so you mix and match. Paul McCartney, we were blessed to go to that. 4 people are in the seats, 3 people were on the floor. Or I'm sorry, 4 people are on the floor. So, I mean, with a large family and a family that, you know, they enjoy their sports, they support St. Louis, but they don't all care to go, you know, let alone at the same time. It's just too difficult. So what you did do was actually very special. I was actually, when I did my Labor Day trip to Denver, I was with my buddy and his family, and they all got to go together to the Rockies game, sitting in the nosebleeds, and it was like, it's kind of cool. You look around and you see like these people. It's like, that's cool. They get to go together, you know. That's besides going with your buddies and having a good time, that's probably the best blessing you can do with doing a sporting event like that. Mm-hmm. To be there with all those people at once. So
it's something that you meaning us, people as a person,
yes,
start to appreciate when you get older.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that my mom has these. She'll tell people, "Oh my God, remember when you hated me when you were in high school and blah blah blah," and you know, all that kind of stuff.
No way.
Right. You go through your teen years and all that kind of crap. But the truth of the matter is, I never hated my parents ever. In fact, I loved my parents. But then it's more of a matter of you get into college and years after college, you get into the real world and you start to appreciate your family more. And you start to appreciate the things that matter the most, being your family. And I hope that, because they're never going to fucking hear this live, but I hope they listen to this, because going to that Blues game together, I mean, that's priceless shit.
It is.
It really is. I mean, $400 for tickets or lifetime of memories, priceless.
Priceless.
Just
Thank
like
you.
the Discovery commercial.
MasterCard, you were close.
Absolutely. Hold on, this is my brother right here. Brian, you are live on Let's Get Comfortable.
All right, Jim, open the goddamn door.
Oh,
Pat, would you mind opening the door?
I'll get the door.
Oh, perfect.
I knew he was here.
Yeah, we'll keep him on the phone so he feels like a dick.
Here we go. Yeah, let's get comfortable.
You know, there's a fucking key. Speaking of family, folks, I mean, you got your brother. He comes in town. He's sitting there. He's fucking in Columbia, and he just says, "Hey, I'm over at your fucking house, and I'm gonna come in town. I got this wedding, blah blah blah." And he just rolls on in. Yeah. Speaking of family, right, Pat?
He was literally just talking
Have
about
a slice of pizza.
how much he loves
Yeah.
him.
What else is on here? Peppers,
Peppers.
Peppers,
sausage, tomatoes.
sausage, pepperoncinis,
Here.
and
Tell you what, we just came from a wedding. We were at Schlafly Tap Room, and as you were walking out, they had
Put the headphones on.
Ferrado's Pizza for you.
Ferrado's.
Underrated as a St. Louis pizza.
Ferrado's.
I'm glad I can make it.
This is great.
Yeah.
We're just kind of
Literally, could you get much better than this, Pat? Because we were just talking about the Blues game
Yeah.
and
Maggie's first hockey game, by the way.
Maggie.
Sorry
We
to
said
step on
that.
your shit, sorry.
We said that. And
I was mentioned?
absolutely, Maggie's first hockey game, and more importantly, when is the last time we, as a family, went to an actual sporting event together? All 4 of us.
this.
Let alone a Blues game.
I can pinpoint it. We didn't actually go to the game. 2011, when the Birds won the World Series, we went into the stadium and took a photo. And that was the last time we were together at a sporting event. We didn't actually sit there and watch the game, though.
Okay, well, that's a total fucking cock answer, but
No, it's not. It's a good answer.
Sion's got truth, cock. Sion's got truth. Yo, cock.
I just want to say this is a very serendipitous moment for him to walk in right now. in the midst of everything we've been talking about, two brothers going toe to toe on Family Memories.
You know what?
Just love to go toe to toe.
Get that stand off so you can hand it off. He doesn't realize that we were literally just talking about this. Maybe we should throw him in on the 3 questions. Right now, you're in on a segment called 3 Questions, Brian.
Go ahead.
And the question was...
I have time for 3.
The sporting. Give me this. Thank you for my microphone back. The question was, if you could pick to go to sporting, you can choose by sport. Okay. The stadiums and the venues. So, for instance, Jim mixed up saying he wanted to go to WrestleMania at, I don't remember the venue.
Wherever.
Okay.
Maybe
but
Lambeau Field. I don't know.
Right. But
It
like,
would have been Notre
places
Dame
you haven't-
Stadium.
Places you haven't been before. Where would you go?
Where would I go?
Yeah.
Okay. I think number 1 would be the Masters at Augusta National.
Ooh, yes.
And why?
Why? Tradition. The Magnolias. It is one of the most exclusive events you could ever go to. If I'm thinking number 2. Oh boy.
Masters at Augusta?
Masters at Augusta is number 1. I think number 2. Boy, I got to be honest, Jim. I'm thinking that Winter Classic at Busch Stadium.
I wish Pat was sitting here right now because you know what one of Pat's questions was?
What?
Jim, will you go to the Winter Classic with me? He got a ticket for me.
Okay.
Oh yeah, don't sound too fucking excited on the goddamn. Oh, that's not exciting at all.
No, it's
Cool,
extremely exciting.
Jim. Cool, you
Jimbo.
get to go. I really wish I could go to the Winter Classic. Oh, I'm going to the Winter Classic. Okay, go fucking cool. Yeah, that's really fucking cool. Jesus Christ, Maggie, where would you like to go? What would be your number 1 stadium? First of all, the question is, what's your number 1 stadium you would like to go see an event in, and what would that event be in that stadium?
Well, I think I would want it to be during a winning football season for the Missouri Tigers. That's during the time when I would want to go. And I would love to go to the University of Florida to see the Gators play Missouri, but I would want us to be winning during that time.
Did you just make that up because I've been there to see Missouri play?
I didn't make that up. That's truly what I would want to do.
So for our loyal 7 listeners, Maggie is my brother's beautiful girlfriend.
Thank you.
And she is a Missouri Tigers fan to the truest son there is.
Daughter.
Or daughter.
It's okay.
Yeah, every true son's so happy-hearted.
Right, well, that's the song, so that's why I said son.
It's okay. We're politically correct at the University of Missouri, so daughter. But that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah,
So
I am.
you are in a segment called 3 Questions.
Okay.
Do you have a question that you would like to ask Brian and myself? And Pat?
Well, this
Literally
question isn't really
any 3 questions.
Any 3 questions? I guess since it's in the nature of what we're doing right now, why did you get into podcasting?
Why did we get into podcasting? Well, first of all, thank you for the question.
No problem. Happy to do it.
I graduated college and I was literally sitting
In how many years? I'm sorry.
inappropriate.
The answer is 4.
Always 4.
Jim,
4.5.
Jim, don't listen to her.
Here's the deal.
Just kidding.
I had a victory lap because I played lacrosse my freshman year of college. So,
Yeah.
ipso facto, I got extra college. It was fantastic.
The victory lap's a great lap.
The reason I got into podcasting was I started getting into listening to podcasts, and I heard that people could do them on their own, and you could also post it out there for other people to listen to. So fast forward a year, I had bought 2 microphones. I had bought all of the software or the hardware to do everything, and I started the Jimmy B Show. The Jimmy B Show kicked off for maybe 3 episodes. And I was already involved in the DeSmet alumni board. And Pat and I ended up being the last 2 people every fucking meeting. And we would get into these conversations and I would say, well, dude, we really need to record this shit. And here comes Pat saying, why don't I get on the show with you? Maybe we do it. And I was like, let's do this. We might as well. I got 2 fucking microphones. Ipso facto, 2 years later, here we are. Let's get comfortable. And now we got our own goddamn show.
I came on. It was kind of a trial period. I came on for one show. And it went so well that Jim said, do you want to come back and do some more? So here we are. And it's been great.
Do you have follow-up question? Do you have a favorite podcast?
We don't have a favorite podcast, I would say, but we have favorite moments from each podcast.
Mine is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
His podcast?
Yeah.
How you doing with that boot? Jim's trying to work his way around the room with a boot.
Trying.
He's trying.
Pat, do you have a podcast other than your own?
I don't know this.
That is your favorite podcast. This is it?
You know, I listen to some sports ones. I think.
Yeah, what do you like?
Oh man, what's his name? The Herd, Chris Coward or whatever his name is. He's got a good one. I've listened to a little bit of Bernie Miklasz and Randy Carricker. They've got there's I'm blanking on the name of it. Derek Gould's got one too. So I listen to some of the national but local stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing like ours. Ours is just kind of a little bit of everything. You don't know what's going to come
Couple
out.
of guys in a room.
Couple guys in a room, yeah.
As far as sports writers go
Yes.
in St. Louis,
Yeah.
I don't think you can beat Bernie or Derek Gould or Gabe DeArmond.
I very much agree. I think Benjamin Hochman, however you say it.
Hochman, yeah.
Him and Ben Fredrickson.
Yeah.
They've got a little bit of a ways to go. I think they're both the guys who are supposed to be trying to fill Bernie's shoes, and they're not trying to. They're trying to be their own guys. And there's the other guy, Jesus Ortiz.
De Ortiz.
They got a few guys trying to fill Bernie, and I appreciate that. I think the Post-Dispatch realizes they can't replace a guy like Bernie, not for a while. I do appreciate Benjamin Hochman's just kind of his local flavor. He writes a little bit differently, a little bit more colorful. He's almost a new Brian Burwell, if you will.
Yeah.
Fredrickson, I like his Hate Rams following thing he's doing right now.
Yeah.
De Ortiz I haven't read as much of, but
a
I
blowhard.
appreciate that they're trying to get something different going. Those are 3 guys that, at least with the Post I like to look at too.
Don't say
Not-
that I don't know how to continue a segment of 3 questions. Pat and I already did this earlier.
This is the longest segment of 3
I
questions.
didn't get
we've
3
ever had.
questions.
Why don't you go?
Jim, I was going to ask you
start first.
Jim, I was going to ask you what was your least favorite Christmas gift, because I think you and I have the same one. Come on, Jim.
They're discussing. Brother and brother, making sure they're on the same page.
I think we have the same one.
It had to be hands down the book I'll Love You Forever.
That's 110% correct.
And why is that?
You know, Pat, it was more depressing than it was.
It was the most, and I know we both love our mom, but it was the most depressing piece of literature I've ever received as a gift. And to really accentuate the point, it was delivered as the last and final gift. I don't know what year it was, Jim, on Christmas morning. And Pat, I don't know if you've ever read the book.
I haven't. No. It sounds depressing just based on what you guys are
It
saying.
is. It starts out. It is the story of a mother and a son which is right up our mother's alley.
Sure.
And the last 2 pages, it's an illustrated book as well. The last 2 pages are a grown man carrying his old, withered, decrepit mother up the stairs because she is too weak to do it herself.
How inappropriate is that?
And
Merry Christmas.
and it has the copy on the page is "I'll love you forever," and so I mean it's barely 15 pages.
Yeah.
And we read, so Mom hands this to us, the last gift, one year, and we open it up and we're like, oh, okay, what's this book? And we piecemeal our way through it, and you kind of figure out what's going on, and then you read the last page, and right before the sticky buns and mimosas, it's a picture of a grown man, 33 years old, carrying his old decrepit mother up the stairs because she can't do it.
Right.
And Jim and I both kind of looked at each other because we read it at the same time and thought,
It was like the worst Dr. Seuss.
what the
book I've ever
hell?
read.
And we look up at Mom, and Mom's already crying. And I felt, I felt bad about that, but as far as Christmas gifts go,
Yeah.
none more depressing.
And when did she give this to you?
I was a spry, probably like 24. Jim was probably a spry 21.
So when you were 24, she was already thinking about how you would need to carry her up the stairs.
Yeah,
when
in
she's
9 short
80.
years. Yeah.
Right. When she's 80 in 9 short years, and I believe your mom is like in her early 60s,
Yeah.
if even that.
I'd also believe she's one of your 7 listeners.
Yeah. And God bless Carol Button for all that she does for this show.
Yeah.
So
I won't hear the end of this.
yeah.
So go, Brian. So you spent all of Saturday slamming beers. All of
Brian,
Friday.
I heard the show.
All of Friday.
Let's Get Comfortable, segment 3. I heard it.
Your entire way in from Columbia, you were slamming beers.
I had
And let me
nothing
guess,
to do with
You
this.
were with
Right,
Joe Douglas and
Neither
all
did
your
I, Mrs. Buttons. Not me.
all your buddies from
Maggie-
DeSmet slamming beers, and then you get on Jim's podcast and talk about my Christmas gift.
So, Pat and I did this earlier. What was your fortune cookie that you have right in front of you? And we'd like to talk about each one.
Okay. Mine's not a question. It's just a statement. Is that okay? So mine says, "Be prepared to receive something special with no strings attached."
That's pretty fucking inappropriate, isn't it, Brian?
No, it's a tomato and pepper pizza right now.
So do we want to analyze? Is there something I'm not expecting?
Hey, I've never been on a podcast, but you guys are barking up the 2 hour and 15-minute tree.
That's your guys' fault.
Well, yeah.
This
What's
is the first time we've ever had our show completely hijacked. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope that there's
You're
going
not
to be
putting up
some
much of a fight.
serious editing going on in this.
So go ahead. You own the show.
So Brian, do you have
You want-
one?
okay.
Yeah.
You will soon be the guest of a person you admire.
Well,
It's about
Pat,
It's about my brother. It's about my brother Jim.
you're the guest.
That's sweet.
This is so appropriate.
Oh, it says. Oh, never mind. It's about Jim's cats.
He's making this fucking shit up.
It doesn't say person. It says pets.
Are you guys comfortable?
Very. I'm happy to have the heels
Yeah, Pat.
off of my feet.
Maggie's not taking off her pants for this.
Well, I don't have pants on
She
to
doesn't have
begin
pants
with.
on, so she's comfortable.
Great.
This is actually the first show that I have not had pants on because of this fucking boot.
It's too hard to get off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty much.
that's inappropriate.
So when you guys ordered pizza from ePizza, did you say, I'd like the shittiest combination you guys have?
We asked for
And
the
you arrived at
LGC
tomato, pepper, and
Sausage.
is that Alpo. Is that ground up Alpo on top?
I don't think he should have any more pizza.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, inappropriate. Foul. I call foul on that play. This is
Can I? Yeah.
very good pizza.
What do you got, Maggie?
I've had none of the pizza.
I just one comment.
Do you have a question?
Oh, go ahead, Maggie. Maggie has one
just
comment.
one comment. It's
Pipe down, everyone.
very interesting because Brian has a lot to say about this podcast and about how
I've never said anything about this
just
podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I've never said a word.
of course, you
Let's
have
hear what he has
lots
to
to say, and you and Brian is absolutely loving having the headphones on, the microphone in front of him.
All right. Let's call
He
Maggie. Maggie, if we're being
absolutely
Maggie, if we're
Likes
being
to be
completely
center of
honest right now,
attention.
I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, exactly.
This is great.
This is great.
Exactly. Brian.
He loves being in the captain's chair.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
being in
He
control,
doesn't realize that
wants
every time
people
he
to
touches the
listen to
microphone, he's
him.
making another sound in there.
Jim, do you remember in grade school when I was the sportscaster when I was in 8th grade, and we used to do it over the intercom?
I wasn't there because I was 3 years under you, so
But do you remember it?
no. Tell me about it.
Well, that was the last time before I was behind the mic, as we say in the business. I wasn't given I wasn't given a voice quite like I do now.
Oh, okay.
So hey, I want to thank you and Pat for
Yes. Having us on, this was great.
letting me.
I do have to
assume the
plug.
throne.
I do have to plug my two favorite podcasts, My Favorite Murder and Bitch Sesh, a Real Housewives breakdown show. If any of your listeners love it, excellent podcast shows.
Okay. I like to plug my favorite podcast, The Adam Carolla Show. I would also like to plug my favorite golf course, Ledgestone down in Branson, and I like to plug my favorite bourbon. It's Elijah Craig. And while I have you here, I'd like to.
There's nobody here except
I'd like
me.
to plug my favorite boxer brief, and that's Calvin Klein.
Ooh, Calvin Klein's written all over your underwear. Jim, he's gonna relinquish the seat back to you.
I don't think he is. I think he's too comfortable.
No.
He's too comfortable where
No,
he
no,
is.
he,
Honestly, God, I am having the time of my life, but this is my brother's domain, so I like to hand it off to him.
you're welcome anytime. Thank you for coming. There's a transition of power from the elder to the younger here.
I hope you had a good time. I had a great time.
Jim in his strapping boot finagles his way back into his chair.
Thank you, Bri, for the boot. I know I was reluctant to have it at first, but it actually has worked out quite well.
What a unique segment. It went from
Wow.
3 questions just to this whole other.
was-
We went deep, we went philosophical, and then we just went to the guests. For the first time ever, again, an unprecedented move, Let's Get Comfortable was completely taken over for a short bit of time
That was
by the guests
that was just like when Let's Get Comfortable took over We Are Live
with Chris Denman
and Travis Terrell.
and
Unbelievable. That was just. You know what though? I would do it. How? Let me just interject. Sorry.
you're talking, you can't interject.
How incredible was that? That as we're talking about family and all that kind of bullshit, and then here walks in this Brian Buttons music hits. Ba-da-ba-da-da. He comes walking in.
Well, on the phone call, open the effing door. I mean, like,
Seriously. How about could you please open the door? That's what I gotta deal with, Pat.
well, you know what? Big brothers are kind of like that. And I would hope that if he was doing a podcast, you would do the exact same thing.
You're right. He would let me have my little 5 minutes of fame.
It's clear he's pretty jealous of what you're doing.
Oh
We're
yeah. Oh, what we are doing.
We're doing. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to use it one more time tonight. What a very serendipitous moment.
Incredible.
A family moment. And a pure, wonderful moment. Another one on Let's Get Comfortable.
Couldn't agree more.
We're champions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For Pat Morris.
And for James Bunton.
This is Let's Get Comfortable.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
And don't forget about your pen pineapple.
Apple Pen.
Amen, brother.
Enjoy. Have a great evening. Drive safe.